When you think about the golden age of Hollywood, your mind probably goes to the classic stars who had a special kind of magic. One of the biggest names from that era, a woman who truly defined what it meant to be a blonde bombshell, is the legendary Elke Sommer. For decades, she was the face that everyone wanted to see on the big screen. She wasn't just an actress, she was a global sensation who brought a mix of European class and Hollywood glamour to every role she took. But beyond her acting, Elke was known for being incredibly brave when it came to her style and her photo shoots. She was one of the first major stars to really embrace a bold, athletic look that celebrated her natural beauty. Lately, some of her most famous and daring photos have been resurfacing, including those iconic shots that many people say leave very little to the imagination. In this video, we are going to take a deep dive into the life and career of Elke Sommer. We will look at her journey from a young girl in Germany to becoming one of the most photographed women in the world. Make sure you stay with us until the very end because we are going to talk about what she is doing today and show you how she completely reinvented herself after walking away from the Hollywood spotlight. Elke Sommer's story is one of those classic, meant-to-be tales. She was born in Germany right before the start of the 1940s. Her father was a minister, and she grew up in a very modest and quiet environment. She was incredibly smart and had a natural talent for languages, something that would help her immensely later in life. In fact, she eventually learned to speak 7 different languages fluently. But her path to fame didn't start in a movie studio. It started while she was on vacation in Italy with her mother. While she was sitting at a cafe, she was spotted by a film director who was struck by her incredible beauty. He asked her to enter a local beauty pageant, which she ended up winning. That one moment changed everything. Suddenly, the girl who was planning to become a translator was being offered movie roles in Europe. Her early photos from this time show a young woman with a unique look, big, expressive eyes, a perfect pout, and a natural glow that the camera absolutely loved. By the early 1960s, Hollywood came calling. They were looking for the next big international star, and Elke Sommer fit the bill perfectly. Her first major American film was The Prize, where she starred alongside Paul Newman. But the movie that really made her a household name was A Shot in the Dark, where she played opposite the legendary Peter Sellers. In that movie, she played Maria Gambrelli, and she was the perfect mix of sweet and stunning. The world fell in love with her immediately. During this decade, Elke was everywhere. She was on the cover of every major magazine, and photographers were lining up to work with her. This was the era where her most famous photos were taken. Whether she was on a movie set or lounging by a pool in a tiny bikini, she had a way of looking both elegant and incredibly bold. One of the reasons Elke Sommer stood out from other actresses of her time was her athletic build. Unlike some of the more fragile-looking stars, Elke was strong and fit. She loved sports and being outdoors, and that physical strength showed in her photos. She was one of the pioneers of the fit and healthy look that is so popular today. When she posed for photos in swimwear or bold fashion pieces, she didn't just look pretty, she looked powerful. This confidence allowed her to take part in photo shoots that were much more daring than what other stars were doing. Some of those photos, including the ones where she wore very minimal clothing like G-string style bottoms or sheer fabrics, were seen as very controversial at the time. But for Elke, it was all about celebrating the human form and being comfortable in her own skin. She never looked shy or embarrassed, she looked like she was in total control. As the 1960s moved into the 70s, Elke's status as a fashion icon only grew. She was a regular in the pages of Playboy magazine, appearing multiple times throughout her career. These photo shoots are often cited as some of the most beautiful in the history of the magazine. They weren't just about being provocative, they were artistic and captured her personality perfectly. She had a wonderful sense of humor and a bright energy that made her photos feel alive. Fans were captivated by how she could go from being a sophisticated actress in a drama to a playful, dream girl on a beach. This versatility is what kept her at the top of the industry for so long. She wasn't just a face, she was a personality that people truly connected with. But Elke Sommer was more than just a beautiful woman in front of a camera. She was a very talented singer and released several albums during the height of her fame. She also performed in stage plays and musicals all over the world. This multi-talented nature is a big part of why her legacy has lasted so long. When you look at her photos today, you aren't just looking at a model, you are looking at a woman who conquered every part of the entertainment world. She had a level of independence that was very rare for women in Hollywood back then. She managed her own career, made her own decisions, and never let the industry change who she was. This strength of character is visible in her eyes in every picture she ever took. In her personal life, Elke was just as bold. She had a long and famous marriage to the writer Joe Hyams, and their life together was often documented in the press. Photos of them at their beautiful home in Hollywood showed a woman who was living the dream. But even with all the fame and money, Elke remained very down-to-earth. She was known for being kind to her fans and professional on every set. However, as the 1980s approached, the Hollywood landscape began to change. The roles for women over a certain age were becoming harder to find, and the constant pressure of the spotlight started to wear on her. This is when Elke made a choice that surprised many people. She decided to step away from the cameras and focus on a passion that she had been nurturing in secret for years. Many viewers might not know that Elke Sommer is actually a very successful and respected painter. She began painting under the name E. Sommer so that people would judge her work on its own merit, rather than because of her fame. Her art is vibrant, colorful, and full of life, much like her personality. She has had her work displayed in galleries all over the world, and many of her paintings sell for large amounts of money. This transition from movie star to professional artist is one of the most impressive reinventions in Hollywood history. When you see photos of her today, she is often in her art studio, covered in paint and looking happier than she ever did on a red carpet. She traded the glamour of the movie world for the true creative freedom of an artist. Even though she is now in her 80s, Elke Sommer still has that same spark that made her a star 60 years ago. Recent photos of her show a woman who has aged with incredible grace. She hasn't tried to hide her age with excessive surgery, instead, she embraces it. She still has that famous blonde hair and that bright smile that can light up a room. People are still gasping at her photos because she represents a kind of beauty that never goes out of style. She is a reminder that you can be a blonde bombshell and a serious artist at the same time. Her life is a testament to the fact that you can always change your path and find new ways to express yourself. Looking back at those iconic photos that leave little to the imagination, it is important to see them in the context of her whole life. Those photos were a celebration of a young woman who was at the height of her powers. They represented the freedom and the boldness of the 1960s. Today, those images are part of her legend, but they are just one chapter in a very long and interesting story. Elke Sommer showed the world that a woman can be beautiful, smart, athletic, and creative all at once. She broke boundaries for European actresses in Hollywood and showed that you don't have to stay in one box for your entire career. Before you go, we want to know what you think. Which of Elke Sommer's movies is your favorite? Do you love her in the Inspector Clouseau films, or do you prefer her earlier European work? And what do you think of her amazing transition into the world of art? Let us know all your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you and discussing these legendary icons. If you enjoyed this video and found it engaging, please give it a big thumbs up. It really helps us out. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a single story about your favorite stars. We have many more deep dives and viral moments coming your way soon. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.